This is Space Intruder Detector.
You're nothing but a bunch of spineless, gutless geeks. Go out of here.
Interceptors, immediate launch.
We will not fight it. The record is scratched.
Stand by for action.
Of us. They wrote an article, they sponsored us being here, and we both worked at film in LA, and it's essentially a proof of concept that's kind of taken on a life of its own, and we literally did it for like $8, and we did the whole movie on paper first, and we assembled this pitch book, and then this is what we took to effects companies, post houses, effects people, everybody.
And it was incredible too, because like our stunt team had just done like Mr. and Mrs. Smith before they did our movie, and they went on and did Pirates 2 and 3, and like our mechanical effects guy, the guy who blew up the shark in the first Jaws, I mean he's been in the business for 100 years. It's crazy, but everybody really got into it and got behind the concept, because they saw we were trying to do something that was really different for female action. I mean the show tonally is kind of like a cross between, I guess, Buffy and Aliens, which is something that, particularly in feature film stuff, you just don't really see right now. You know, it's just a different kind of voice.
And I mean, I'm not exaggerating, we really, truly did it on all favors and like nothing. And when you watch it, you'd never know, because it really looks pro, and it really came out. And the fact that it got done at all is miraculous. The fact that it doesn't look like a disaster defies all logic.
Because when we got into it, I mean, we didn't know if we were going to fall flat on our faces halfway through or not, but everybody was really willing to take a chance and come up with creative solutions for stuff like our sets are like built out of styrofoam.
Yeah.
You know, just stuff that
It's
you
like the
never
world's
think about
biggest
doing.
styrofoam box.
Yeah, exactly.
How long did it take for you guys to do that?
We were shooting really
days, but it took 3 years from when we started doing it on paper to when we got the DVD spec. 3 years.
Yeah, because I mean, we were in post-production for about 8 months, because we had 120 visual effects shots in the short, which is about the exact same ratio of like the first 20 minutes of War of the Worlds. I mean, it was just an obnoxious amount of visual effects work. It took forever to do, and it really
doing it
gives
on
us a lot to
paper.
go. Yeah.
So like we didn't have any money to pay anybody to do it, so we're like, okay, we need 120 effect shots, and you got to do it for here's a six-pack.
Yeah, exactly. So they're doing it at night, on the weekends, and you know all this kind of crazy stuff. But slowly but surely, we got it.
So you're telling me that there?
That's stock footage.
That's stock shot. Yeah.
Stock footage.
Yeah. And it's enhanced with visual effects to like match the look of our movie and everything. So.
This is excellent.
Still pretty good on $8, I'll tell you that.
Thanks.
The guy from The Pretender.
Yeah, that's Michael T. Wise. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we have a great cast.
And this set is actually the sub-basement, was it Crazy Gideon's or something?
A meat packing plant in LA.
Yeah.
We went in dress. I mean, it was nuts.
Can this stuff be found on the net, or?
Yeah, here we have the
website.
Website's on the bottom, and then like I said, here's the pitch book. If you want to see how it started, like we did all the concept stuff first, kind of an overview, all the character designs, and I mean down to the everything, because we knew we'd have to get people to manufacture the stuff, and then we did you know, set designs and stuff, and then we have a whole bunch of storyboard sequences. This is pretty much that whole scene you just shot, almost verbatim.
Wow.
But that was the only way we got it done, because we had such a compressed amount of time to shoot that stuff. I mean, we had to do like 60 or 70 camera setups a day and just like burn through it, which is like
absurd.
4 times the normal shooting
amount of shots.
I mean, it was insane.
Your own cameras, or were these borrowed?
They were all donated by Panavision, which because we shot Super 35.
They have a Panavision actually has a grant program for first-time filmmakers, and that was a big reason why we spent so much time doing it on paper and doing the preliminary work.
And everything.
Yeah.
And And it's a tough thing because, you know, in Hollywood, it's like every cliche you've ever heard is true about the, hey babe, I love you, don't go changing. I mean that. Have your service call my service. I love you. I mean that, really. You know, Renee, can you get him a bottle of water? Thanks, babe. I love you. It's all, not only is it true, it's even worse than you think. And the MO for a lot of these people is you can't leave anything to their imagination because they're never going to fill in the blanks the way that you want them to.
Okay.
So we figured the best defense, particularly doing it as inexpensively, was making it as fully realized as we possibly could.
And the whole deal is like, this is a proof of concept for a feature and TV show, both of which we're shopping and sort of developing in tandem. So it was crucial that we basically gave them half an hour of what the finished show or the finished movie was going to look like, so that they could go, okay, not only do we totally visualize it and see it, but you guys have demonstrated that you can pull it off and do it. So I mean, it's just, you know, about building confidence that way.
Because there's a fundamental logic to it where if we can do it this effectively with nothing, imagine how we can do it with any kind of budget at all. Exactly.
Right.
We're not clowns, but we can be trusted to make responsible, creative decisions, and we can be trusted with a budget and not blow it and not turn in something that looks like crap. You know.
Where would you go after this? What's the next move?
Well, I mean, right now, my reps, because I wrote and directed it, my reps we're taking it around to production companies. A bunch of companies have the feature and are considering it. We're about to start making the big push with television. And then Jeff has just drawn the first issue of the comic book, which is going to come out in August. So we're just kind of going out on all fronts to see which one gets some traction first and just try to build on that.
We're piggybacking it on
with the Sire, which is Mike Dolce's book. So I'm not sure who Mike's distributor is, but he's doing it all for us.
And then
it'll be on the August.
We've talked to like IDW and Image about doing a series, but we want to wait till we actually have a sample of the book. Because this stuff, thematically, we did the production art like a comic book, but ultimately it's still production art. We're doing something that's much more like comic specific.
You did the artwork?
Yeah. Thanks. And I don't do concept work anymore for movies. And it just really worked out. And we're both, I mean, more than anything, it's just we're really tight. We're like a couple of 14-year-olds. I mean, the majority of this we did in my living room. In 3 in the morning, you acting shit out, like, you know, like when you're a little kid and you're drawing, you're like, pew, 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 pew. Like 2 grown men doing that in my living room, and that's pretty much how we, like all the action and the stunt stuff.
Like, I mean, that's a good metaphor for the entire production. I mean, we're on set, you know, we're working with guys who work on, you know, the biggest movies in Hollywood, and then we had a bunch of guys who'd never really done anything before, but everybody had so much fun that we all ended up like a bunch of 8-year-old kids
and
run around, you know.
And there was no megalomania. Like a lot of Hollywood productions, there's just that, you know, that everyone takes it so seriously, and everyone with their big egos and the delicate sensibilities, and there was none of that. Everyone was so cool and so down to earth and so really dedicated. And the great thing was none of them had to be. You know what I'm saying? They're all doing this for free. It's like we're making demands on people's time and resources, and they didn't have
to give it up, right?
Yeah, they could have walked at any point.
Stepped up. Totally stepped up. And which is amazing. I mean, it takes me every time I think about how extensive this turned out to be, and I'm really flattered and amazed at how everybody did step up. A great example is, I think you saw earlier when the door blew up.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's a thing on the DVD that's great. The production designer we had, this guy, you can ask him, I'm not exaggerating, was literally stayed up for 70 hours straight. Like, he got to the point where he started hallucinating and shit because he didn't have any sleep.
And Russell's doing, like, our production designer, Russell's doing, he did crazy stuff too. Like, on our vault door, like, when you see it pop up, like the rivets on that vault door, they're spree candy spray painted silver, like hot glued on them. I mean, the guy was, like, so out of the box, it was ridiculous.
And it's all, like, styrofoam trim and shit, and then they put that on the floor, spray painted it silver, and then he got little spree candies and he painted them one at a time. And it took like 12 hours. He's there like,
but the real shit, what's insane about the vault door, right? When it blows off, like this is a door that's supposed to weigh 800 pounds.
Flip the thing on, and it looks badass. And you think it's a big piece of styrofoam with little candy stuck to it. And when you see it in person, you're like, get out of here with that bullshit. And then when you see it, you're like, oh damn. Like,
crazy, right? Like, to do that effect, you know, that door is supposed to weigh 800 pounds, so the physics of a door that's supposed to spin 800 pounds, I think it weighs like 5 pounds. And so we had to rig it on this massive, like, cable and pulley system with a hydraulic winch to just really yank it off its hinges to make it spin, so that it had any weight at all. Because shot and all these effects. You know,
We
like
did one pass before that, and everyone's like, there's all this anticipation. We're like, oh man, because that sells it. That's the one shot, and it's gotta work.
Right.
So we're all like, everyone's waiting, all anticipating, and then they blow it up, and it goes. It's all anticlimactic. It's just like, oh my god, no!
Fell over and like fluttered to the ground, like very delicately, you know. Like I'm sitting at the monitor going,
What can I do with this?
like, we're totally screwed. But then we set it up again, and I mean they pulled it off, and then we went back in post and put that fire behind it with CG to just give it a little extra.
What are you using program-wise for CG?
For CG stuff, I think they used Maya for a lot.